Bem-vindos ao canal Clips MMA. Meus amigos, tá chegando a hora. De um lado, o maior finalizador e um dos lutadores mais caóticos da história do UFC. Do outro, o invicto que combina precisão cirúrgica com potência devastadora. Dois mundos colidem, dois estilos, duas histórias, um só destino. Cinturão peso leve que está em jogo. UFC 317, Charles do Bronx contra Ilia Topuria. Nesse sábado, na T-Mobile Arena, em Las Vegas. Nesse vídeo, vamos conferir o que lutadores e personalidades do mundo da luta estão prevendo para esse duelo, que promete ser um dos melhores do ano. Já se inscrevam aí no canal. Bora!
He was a guy who's kind of known as the guy who fell apart. And he just turned a corner and then became the best motherfuckers in the sport.
A vida falou pra mim, você não vai jogar nenhuma bola! E olha onde que eu tô! Eu sou campeão mundial, irmão! Oh my God! He's gonna do it! This dude right here, man! Stop Charles Oliveira! Use Canal! Everybody, tell the over! Charles Oliveira! Hey, Charles Oliveira, a big champion! Tem champion entendendo! Tem Charles Oliveira, brother!
I cannot wait to see it. It's a great clash of styles. The beautiful boxing and the Greco-Roman wrestling of Ilia Topuria combined with the supreme confidence, and of course now he's bigger, he's stronger, he's looking ripped. He hasn't got to drink loads of red wine on the Thursday night to make the weight. He's coming in refreshed, stronger, bigger. The punching power will be improved. The strength will be better. The cardio will be better without those nasty weight cuts.
I am curious. Like I was curious, like anybody else, with Topuria versus Makhachev, right? Everybody wanted that fight, but I'm just as excited for Topuria and like Oliveira. I think that'll be such a good gauge as to how Topuria is going to move around in that division, moving up in the weight division, fighting heavier guys, what he looks like. I'm really excited for that proposition.
I mean, listen, in terms of exciting fights, I think what we've seen is Topuria trying to track people down. He bides his time, he's cutting people off, he's getting his reads, and then he unloads. He's not going to have to search for Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira fights with a lot of pressure, he fights moving forward, he doesn't know how to fight any other way. I think from the first bell, this is going to be absolute chaos.
The way Topuria is able to touch the body is something that I think is going to play a big role in this fight. Charles likes to stand very tall. He kind of leaves that body open a little bit. We've seen him go down from body shots in the past. And people forget, or actually people don't forget, people just might not know this, that Ilia Topuria's base, in the way he came up on the regional scene, you would not think that he's this devastating puncher. He really shined as a grappler, really shined with his wrestling. And while Charles Oliveira is the all-time submission leader, the greatest ground specialist we've ever seen in the UFC, I think that it's going to be very hard for Charles to submit Ilia Topuria.
What is Ilia like at 155 pounds? Can he handle the weight? Where is he at in that position? Can he handle the weight? Can he handle the length of Charles? The high knees, if he dips his head, the knees coming through the middle. Charles Oliveira is dangerous. I mean, he's got the height. He's got the push kicks. He's got good leg kicks. He can kick the head really well. He can jump on the ghillie extremely well.
But at the same time, it's going to be the endurance of Topuria that's going to overcome Charles Oliveira, because you're going to have a bumpy road for the first couple of minutes until everything settles down. And whether Topuria puts him away or takes him into the second round, he's going to need to go through a bit of a ringer. I would say, defensive submissions, take a few shots. He might get a bit bloodied, to get his nose bust a bit, because Oliveira's long, and bony and chaotic, you know. But at the same time, I do feel like Topuria's got the skills and the maturity in his game to certainly kind of smother everything that Oliveira can do for the first couple of minutes and get past it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Charles Oliveira, his best chance is, you know, getting those scrambles on the ground. I think that he seems to be, from what we've seen, he seems to be a more potent submission artist than Ilia Topuria. Now, I want to see a little bit more on the ground from Ilia Topuria. Typically, he hurts guys on the feet, and that's pretty much it. Or, you know, so he looked great against Bryce Mitchell. You know, how high level Bryce Mitchell is, I don't know. But he's very good. He submitted a lot of other guys. Ilia Topuria made it look pretty easy on the ground against Bryce Mitchell. So it's possible that he's better than Charles Oliveira. I haven't seen it yet enough to say, you know, unequivocally that he's better, but it's very possible. You know, I think that Ilia's best shot is getting into boxing range, being in the pocket, and taking him out there. But Charles Oliveira needs to keep the fight on the outside.
I saw Kenny Florian, the great, legendary Kenny Florian, of course, talking about this fight recently. And he had an analogy that I thought was genius. Right? He was talking about this fight, and then he likened it to the way that they both dress. He said, you know, Charles Oliveira, anytime he dresses, he's going to have some loud suit on. You know, it's going to be bright red or orange or yellow and stuff. It's flashy, it's loud, it's in your face. Whereas Topuria, he dresses nice, he'll have a suit on, but it'll be much more. Yeah. It's smooth, it's refined, it's understated. He's got the rolls, you know what I mean? He's giving you that little look. He looks like he's got a bit of mascara on. He's going to give you a kiss. but he's understated, you know what I'm saying? And he said, and it's kind of like their fighting styles. He said, well, Charles Oliveira comes forward, he's loud, he's in your face, he'll snap up some mind-blowing submission, whereas Topuria sticks to the fundamentals and the basics, and he's not as flashy, and he doesn't take risks, and he's very, very calculated, but uses the fundamentals and the basics to an extremely high level. And I just thought that was a really good comparison.
When I look at this fight, I think of this fight stylistically. I think, okay, the explosive power and the power in the hands, and it's crazy to say that. You have to go with more of Ilia Topuria, right? Ilia Topuria goes high-low. He can go to the body. He can go up top. He's been knocking people out cold. That means Max Holloway, 2 future Hall of Famers he knocked out. None of those guys went championship rounds. We saw him one time at 155 pounds where he did get hurt against Burns. Is that his name? Against Jai Herbert, but he got hurt. He got dropped, but the matador in him, he came back and he ended up knocking him out. Charles Oliveira is the bigger fighter. Charles Oliveira has fought the who's at 155 pounds. I mean, everything absolutely changes, man, with Charles Oliveira taking down Michael Chandler, with Charles Oliveira taking down Justin Gaethje with those beautiful double legs.
That's a very interesting fight. On the inside of the middle, you know, you got Charles with those great knees, great height, you know, and great length, you know, so there's danger there. There's Charles got dangerous. He's dangerous on the ground with Topuria, but Topuria is no joke on the ground either. He's got a very good ground game, so you cannot think that if he takes you down, if he takes Charles down, that it's over for Topuria. No. It could be over for Charles because he can put some heavy damage on you. So what I'm saying is this fight's extremely competitive.
I think Topuria is a perfect blend of dangerous on the feet with power. He's not a real kicker, where Charles is very good, especially with that front push and deep kick that he throws. He uses it as a jab. He keeps on coming back to hitting you in the solar plexus, hitting you to the sternum, all these places that he keeps on popping. It affects you. It affects your breathing rhythm. It does a lot of things to you. And so he uses more of the kickboxing, you know, Muay Thai look. You know, he brings the leg up a lot and stuff, where Topuria is more boxing centric, but he'll kick at times. But I just look at this fight, they're so well matched. It's the question of who's going to land. I do think that Topuria actually has the more power. I think he is the heavier
yeah.
hitter, even though he's coming from the 145s, and Charles fought at 145, but he's the heavier handed guy.
UFC 317, we got Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, and I'm pretty sure Charles is a big underdog. A big underdog. He's got that tall Muay Thai style. He stands up really tall, which could be a problem when you're facing a boxer like Ilia. But also, it takes Ilia slipping the way he does, ducking the way he does, to run into one of those knees to change everything.
I'm excited for that one.
I'm excited for that one too.
And look, I think the world of Ilia Topuria. I think he's got big power in his hands. He's technically very sound on the feet with his defense. I think he's a fantastic fighter. Shorter, stockier, harder to take down. But I also take a look at the way that Charles was able to beat Michael Chandler, especially in the last fight. He was able to get to the single leg. He was able to lift and elevate. People underestimate Charles' ability to wrestle. He's got great wrestling. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He still utilizes his jiu-jitsu. I think that Ilia, he's going to be a shorter and stockier guy. It's going to be harder to deal with if it does come into any ground situations. But Charles Oliveira is fantastic on the ground.
Man, that's one where your heart's telling you, Charles, and your brain's telling you Ilia. It's just that one's a coin flip. Can't count Charles out. Ilia's on an absolute tear. Charles does get hit. Ilia cracks. That fight I am very excited for.
For me, what's really interesting to see is if Ilia's style will translate, because from 145 to 155 the same way, because there is a different, obviously there's a different size, but there's going to be a different pressure in that size difference. So will he be able to apply the same pressure at 155? Will he be able to handle the grappling at 155? And I feel like the answer is yes, but I'm looking forward to seeing it, especially against a guy like Charles. Charles is fantastic.
What I see in mixed martial arts, I think the biggest deficit when it comes to skills in mixed martial arts right now is the defensive skills. And even if you go into Muay Thai, you go into boxing, it's also the least appreciated thing, I think, as well. Oliveira is unkillable in the way that he's durable, in the way that Gaethje, has been unkillable. It's like they do it with their chin. That is not a long-term strategy, unfortunately. And what I see from Topuria is defensively, he's so sound. He knows how to really use that shell extremely well. He's one of the few guys that can kind of use that Floyd Mayweather type of style, where he will hide behind that shoulder extremely well. He knows when to blade his body when punches are coming at him. He's very disciplined in that regard. Oliveira is finishing a lot of guys that I think defensively don't have the same capabilities that Topuria has. So yeah, if you're looking at it from the perspective of like you're a traditional MMA guy who's coming forward and just thinking about kill or be killed, yeah, Oliveira is going to catch him. And if he does, he's going to get you out of there. Topuria doesn't really have that style. It's like everything's very much rooted from like, I don't come out until I have a shot. He's kind of like a sniper. You don't see him, and he's not in position until he's ready to kill. Topuria is bringing this defensive side, especially in that boxing range, that I don't think a whole lot of people possess. And I'm curious to see whether Topuria's power and his finishing skills will be there at 155 pounds. We've seen it before at 155, but that was Jai Herbert. This is Charles Oliveira. So it's going to be an amazing fight.
On the inside, striking, it's going to be who's got the better knee, who's got the height. Charles. So Charles got better knees, got the height, got the reach. Who's got the better chin? Topuria. Who's got the better boxing? Topuria. Who's got the better takedown? Topuria. On the ground, as far as better jiu-jitsu and all that, okay, that's an unknown. We just know they're well-versed. I'm not saying that Charles has all these submission wins, so he's better than Topuria. We don't know because they haven't fought each other. We have to let them fight each other to decide who's got the superior ground.
But if we had to guess.
If I had to guess who has the better ground, I'm going to go slightly Charles.